Hey guys, what's up? I'm super excited to be on here and be live. And today I'm just gonna do some short things. I'm gonna share shift tools for living in 2023, because I don't know if anybody else is noticing, but the rules for living are changing, and the way that looks for people in their life is changing. And as we all navigate this together, it can feel good, or it can feel like a lot of rejection and a lot of blame and a lot of shame and a lot of taking the pain from the inside of yourself and slapping it on to the outside world, you know? And so as we grow into these new themes, we can adapt and we can change and we can make all of this easier on us. And so my number one tool is to respond to life. And I'll tell you what, when I heard that probably 8 years or so ago, I couldn't grasp what that meant. And so what does that mean? It basically means that you let life be the leader. You let life lead and you respond to it. So for example, let's say that you get fired. You respond to that. And then you wait and you respond. You let something else come. You let that friend come and say, oh my gosh, you should work at this dental office. You get on Facebook the next morning and you see an ad for the insurance company in your town, right? If you just give it the time and space it needs, the thing will be delivered to you. And you will be able to see it, respond to it, grab onto it, and move with that. The other option is to obsessively think and plan and try to figure it out and try to fix it, right? And in doing all of that, you might miss the answer and you might miss responding to it. You might not even see that it came for you. And so it's a total mental shift, because when we are thinking and planning and obsessively chasing, you know, we are not trusting life. We are putting it all on ourselves. We're like, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to make it happen, I'm going to do it. But the thing about that is, you know, you're a part of life and we can't get rid of you. You know, we've all been here since the beginning and we're all going to be here until the end, and we're doing this thing together. And there is no place where you're just alone and struggling and trying to manically figure out what you need to do with your life. This is just something that we've created through our own words, through our own ways of treating each other and teaching each other. And honestly, from my own personal experience, it's just not true. And if we can relax, if we can respond, if we can let life take the lead, life will take care of us. And not only that, it'll be healthier for us, right? It'll make better choices than we would, because humans love to sacrifice themselves. You know, like my mind will give any reason for why I should put my body in jeopardy for another. And when you're responding to life and you're listening to your body, that's no longer the way that it works. You know, you're honoring yourself and loving yourself. And that's a beautiful thing. And so number 2, living in uncertainty. This is very close to responding, but we can respond and still be manic, right? We can still be manic waiting for that next thing to come. And so what I like to have people do is to relax and sink into uncertainty. If a human being can live in uncertainty, and if they can live without knowing what's next, they can completely relax. They can stop putting all this pressure on themselves and on everybody they know, right? And if they don't know, then they just don't know. And they don't have to read 70 billion articles to try to figure it out from somebody else. You know, they don't have to do all these things that they do for certainty. And what's so funny, you know, I can become certain that I am going to get a job, but that doesn't mean that I'm actually going to get it. You know, so it's like the certainty itself, we are trying to become certain to make ourselves feel comfortable, but it doesn't even mean that it's the truth. And so if we can sink into that uncertainty, if we can let that be what's real for us, we can be so much more comfortable in every place of life. You know, we don't have to know. We can trust it. We can have faith in it. We can have faith in ourselves. And so I think that is such a beautiful thing. And it's something that will stop you from staying up all night, you know, putting it all on yourself and doing destructive type behaviors. Uncertainty is not something to run away from. It's wisdom. And honestly, it's a huge part of our scientific process. Anybody who's ever won a Nobel Prize will stand up in front of you and be like, this is what it is now, but it could change, right? Like, there are scientists waiting for Einstein to be proved wrong every day, because that's how science happens. We discover that it works like this, and then with time we get to go deeper into that, and we get to discover that it works like this. And it's this process of change and growth and seeing it in new ways. Why? Because we're evolving with life, right? Like, the machinery that I am is getting deeper into the life. And so it's beautiful. And to be a scientist, the number one ingredient is uncertainty. To learn anything, the number one ingredient is uncertainty. And it's love. Like, when I can be uncertain about my child's future, I'm loving my kid, right? Like, when I can put that in their hands and let them grapple with that, I'm loving my kid. And it doesn't have to be about me, right? And I can help them sink into the uncertainty and be like, hey, you know, when you know, you'll know. And until then, why don't you stop being so hard on yourself? Why don't you meditate, or we'll take a walk, or we'll do something different, you know? And so it's so good. It just sounds maybe not so good based on where we're coming from. And so the next one, this one's kind of weird and hard. We have to get to the place where we talk about ourselves. And this one is beautiful because it can eliminate arguments. It's like, you have a husband and wife and they're going at each other. And if the wife is like, well, you said this, and when you said this, it made me like this, and so I freaked out, and it's because you're an asshole, and it's because you act like this, and it's like nothing happens there. But if she says, when you said that, like, I felt my heart hurt, there's nothing to argue with there. Right? She didn't call him anything. She doesn't know anything about him. But what she does know is what he just said made her heart hurt. And that's honest, and that's true, and that gives him a space to respond to that, right? Instead of her coming at it with demonizing him, she's sharing what is happening inside of her. That is out of our control. There's nothing to demonize about that, right? Like, I can't choose if my heart decides to start hurting right now, but I can let you know that it is. I can't choose to make my heart stop hurting right now, but I can let you know that it is, you know? We aren't in control of these things. They come and they move through us. We filter them, we share them with each other. And so the more into ourself, talking about ourself, responding to our own emotions, seeing our own reactions, this is how we're gonna get out of all this messiness that we're in, where we can't even communicate to each other because the husband thinks he knows everything about her and she thinks that she knows everything about him, when in reality, she doesn't know anything about her own self. Maybe she doesn't feel her emotions in the first place to even communicate about them, you know, and he doesn't know anything about his own self, or he would be talking about his self. And so it's really about taking this personal responsibility of, when I communicate, it's going to be about my personal experience. It's going to be about what I've been through, what I'm witnessing happening inside of here. And so much less about what I think I know about that person that I've never talked to, or, you know, experienced their past or heard about their parents. Like, how do we act like we know things about other people? It makes absolutely no sense to me. And as soon as we can get to that place in a marriage, the arguments just end because there's nothing to fight. And so that is very, very beautiful. Talk about yourself. Don't talk about what they did, who they are, what you think about them. Talk about what you do, who you are, what you think about you, what you witness from you, what you see you do, how you see you respond. That is something that cannot be challenged because no one else is inside there with you. You know, everything that you speak on from your personal experience, that is real for you. And that is why it's for you to share. And so, awesome. This one's really good. This one is dive into confrontation. Dive into confrontation. And this is messy because a lot of people don't realize that they are in huge amounts of confrontation and conflict and all of this with their own self. You know, it's like, for me, for example, when I was in network marketing, working so hard, you know, sacrificing myself so freaking hard because I love people and I want to help people and I want to do all of those things. But when was I going to confront, you know, what I was doing to my health? When are we going to look at dad and be like, yeah, it's great that you make all that money, but I'd love for you to live to see your grandkids. You know, like, when are we going to start confronting these things and just diving into what is real for us? And so the confrontation is so messy because a lot of us are mixed up on the inside. And if we're mixed up on the inside, we're not going to have healthy confrontation with the outside world. And so whatever confrontation looks like for you, you know, just be honest. If you're tired, be honest about that. If you're mad, be honest about that. If you're sad, be honest about that. If you really shouldn't go to that barbecue, be honest about that. And when they get mad at you for that, be honest and say, I was just so tired and I'm trying to choose myself first right now. I'm sorry, I love you. Because honesty can fucking heal the world. Literally, who is going to combat honesty? And if they do, maybe you just let them walk right out of your life. You know, if I'm honest with the people in my life because I love myself and I love them, because I want the best for all of us, why is confrontation so negative in that respect? You know, maybe with where we're at in time, a lot of us need to be sat down and reevaluate our priorities and figure out where we are on a human level, not like an industrial level, not this hyperactive society culture that has us all running 24/7 type of level. You know, it's like, that's a big confrontation in itself. I can blame myself for not having the same financial means as my parents or my grandparents, or I can look at what's going on with society, right? So I'm an advocate for putting the weight on society. Why are you not making the money you want to make right now? We're at a weird place with society. It's not that you're fucked up, stupid, need to take a course, need to do anything. You're fine. We are shifting and the world is changing. We are going to watch our structures change. We are going to watch things collapse so that new things can come in. As we change, the workplaces that we go in change. You know, the way that we live in our house change. The way that we treat our families change. And so being on board with that change, being honest with yourself, not blaming yourself if your life doesn't look the way you want it to. None of us would choose to go through these changes. And so if we're making it about how we're failing, that's why suicide rates are so high right now, right? When you have a grandma blaming grandchild who just graduated college and now they're in debt and they can't find a job. That is a symptom of society. That is nothing to do with your grandchild. And if you were your grandchild's age right now, you would probably be experiencing something very similar, right? And so if we can take the weight off the people and put it on the systems, put it on the society, we can navigate this, and that's the truth. Everything else is going to collapse us. Everything else is going to lead to rejection within our families, our social groups, all the things, right? We have to choose each other so that we can make it through this in the best way for us all. And now that I've talked about choosing each other, number 5 is choosing yourself. Because, like I said, you're the only one in your body. You're the only one that can tell that you need to eat right now. You're the only one that knows that you need to go sit in the bathroom stall and just take a couple breaths, right? Like, you're the only one that knows that you need to leave and go pick up your kid. You're the only one in there. You're the only one that can choose your body. And if you're not choosing your body, you're giving it to a lot of people who are just taking your money and not caring about your body, right? Why does America have different laws in you know, our food administration than most other developed countries? Why are they poisoning our food, right? Like, we think that society chooses us, so we believe and trust society. Stop doing that. We have to choose ourselves and choose and trust ourselves. We have to let society be seen in an honest way, right? And that way that we see it, we can't let it destroy us. And so that is so beautiful. You have to choose you, not him, not your kid, not your manager. You have to choose you. And it's cool, okay? Not choosing your kid is really cool. Because usually what choosing your kid looks like is thinking that choosing your kid usually looks like thinking you know what's best for your kid. And that's not choosing your kid. That's choosing what you were taught. That's choosing what was chose over top of you. And so by choosing our kids and letting them make their own choices, right? Letting them respond to life, letting them choose their own self, that is where responsibility comes in. You know, that is where they gain the ability to have their own confrontations, to plan their own things, to make their own decisions. And if I'm choosing my kid and I know best for them in every single way, when they get to be an adult, what's going to happen? You know, and so if we can know that life is in charge of your kid, you know, life brings kid in, life takes kid out, life brings mom in, life takes mom out. If we can let everybody be life's and we can give that responsibility to life, we can respond to life, we will stop controlling each other into physical illness, death, and suicide. You know, like we will give each other freedom and space and love to learn how to navigate life and feel secure in it for ourselves, to grow comfortable in uncertainty, you know? And so you have to choose yourself. You have to let every single person choose themselves. Your husband, he chooses himself. You can't do anything about his happiness, right? Your kid, you have to let them choose themselves. You don't know where they're going or what they're here to do or who they're going to impact. And admitting that is loving your family. I love that. And so very last, number 6, feeling to release. Feeling feelings releases them from your body. When we think about feelings to explain them to somebody else, that holds them in our body. Okay, so let's say that this low feeling comes into me. I can feel that. I can breathe into that. It will go away. If I can just feel it and honor it, give it attention and love, right? Just like every child wants, everything in the world just wants love and attention. I haven't seen, there's nothing too dark that it doesn't want just love and attention. All the pain, that's all it wants is love and attention. So it's like big feeling comes in, I feel it. I see it's there, it's allowed, right? And I just let it be there, it goes away. This is how we filter energy, right? This is how we become wise. This is how I can know the emotional state of the people in the same room as me. And it's like, if we can be there, we're not carrying these big emotions around in our body. But if big feeling comes in and we're like, oh shit, what does this mean? What is this about? Oh my gosh, this is about my job. This is about the fact I need to get a divorce. I need to go home and kick my dog. This is about the fact that my kid just got held back and expelled and sent to Jupiter. And it's like, no, I can come up with a billion things that emotion could be about. And any one of those things that I decide is true, you know, creating the story about it is what holds it inside your body. That's what turns it into the density, the physical illness, right? Where we're pressing it, we're pushing it into our legs. We're wondering why our toenails look fungusy. It's like we hold these things inside of ourselves and they're real. And we try to explain them so that we can share them with the other. But the thing is that you cannot share them with the other, you know, no matter what story you put on top. And that's hard. That brings us to, for me, what the truth is for us as individuals. And it is aloneness. Because when I have these feelings coming into me, let's say that they overwhelm me. Let's say that I start freaking out and I snap on my kids and I snap on my husband. I'm overwhelmed by a big feeling, right? But like, they don't know that. They just think I'm acting like a tyrant or something. And it's like, the fact that they don't know that means that I'm alone with my reality. That's what that means. It means that I'm the only one who knows what's going on inside of me. And so to be in that aloneness, right, to take responsibility for what's going on in there, to feel it without thinking about it so that it can go away, right? What we try to do is put a story on top and then coerce somebody into listening to our painful story. We can do that for years. Like, we can do that for our entire life. But that doesn't do anything. It's like you keep it with you. Right? You're keeping it and you're carrying it around like a bag of rocks that's weighing your soul down. And so by accepting aloneness, by accepting that I can't share this with you, even if I wanted to, even with the perfect story, even if I had a teleportation device, like I just want you to understand me and know how I feel, they cannot do that. And by accepting that, you can finally be the one. You can be the one for you, and you can feel it all, and you can experience it all, and you can grow comfortable in your aloneness. You can grow comfortable in your uncertainty. And with that being said, these are the tools that are going to help us navigate and get through these weird, shifty times. We are going to see the bargain break. We are going to see contracts breaking, relationships breaking, system not able to do what system says it's going to do. You know, like, I think really interesting things are going on with public education. I'm seeing interesting things in the banking system, the health systems, you know, the medication, pharmaceutical systems. It's like everywhere. There's so many details. There's so many things that are collapsing as we become this 24/7 society. There's not enough people, and we are all blaming that on each other. And so if you just carry these 6 things around with you, it will help you navigate these times. It can help anybody in your life. Learn these, try to understand them, try to carry them around with you in your pocket so that you can give it to that woman at work, you know, so that you can share it with the person at church, so that you can be that light that can help people come out of what's old and not working and into what's new and what can help us survive and move and grow and change and thrive, you know, moving forward. And so I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much for hopping on, everybody. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.